Hey guys, what is going on? I figured I would do a video for the multi-rotor community on how to get the best possible image out of your GoPro so that you can color grade it or apply a LUT to have the best looking image possible by the time it makes its way all the way through rendering and then through compressing on YouTube and still keep as much there as you can possibly get. So first, I'm going to start with my GoPro settings, and I'll tell you a little bit about why I use them, and I'm then going to go over just showing you the difference between unedited footage like you're seeing now and color graded footage. And then I'm just basically going to keep it at that. I'll throw a video up after all of that showing actual flight footage with it A-B'd before and after on there, and give you an idea of what it looks like in flight. But yeah, let's just hop into it and get started. So I like to use an adjustment layer. If you have any questions about what I'm using and how I'm using it, just ask it down in the comments and I'll either respond or I will if enough people ask, I'll just make a video on it. So I use an adjustment layer, and this adjustment layer, I've already applied my LUT inside this adjustment layer, which you can see here, and I've already increased the sharpening. So we'll start with the camera settings and then we'll get into all this. So I'm recording in 2.7K. I'm recording at 30 frames a second. I'm recording at white balance set to native. Superview is enabled. Protune is on. Let's see, Protune's on. Color is set to flat, white balance is set to native. So, and then also sharpening is set to low. So I'll put down in the description exactly what my settings were in this video. I'll even include the shutter speed and the ISO settings that I used for this particular video. But yeah, the main settings to get this look that you see here is Protune, color flat, white balance native, and sharpening low. Now I'm just going to turn to this LUT that I made on to give you an idea of what the difference is between uncolor graded right off the camera and color graded, so you can see the difference. So there you go. You can see here's without it, here's with it, here's without it, here's with it. And the first thing you'll notice is the detail is not gone and lost. Like, I raised the whites and the highlights up a little bit, but I didn't completely blow out the sky. But you also got more detail in the in like these dark spots on the ground, these oil stains. I didn't lose the detail, but I bumped the contrast up, and then all of these midtones here, the lighter parts of the concrete, those have actually been cleaned up and brightened up a little bit. I also applied some of a blue look to the highlights and to the shadows in this image. And then obviously you can see, like, if you look at this wall and that wall back there, that wall was very bright in real life. This wall here was quite worn out and washed out from the rain and whatnot. But if you look here, you can see that wall back there has got very little saturation. This wall here is almost like flat, like almost grayscale practically. And with the LUT on, you can see all that color pop and come back in. So that is how that is what non-color graded versus color graded looks like. Again, non-color graded and color graded. So now let's talk about the settings and go back and forth between these and explain why the settings are what they are. So the first thing I'm going to start with is color flat is what makes this image really, really, really dull and have like zero contrast or really low contrast. And the point of that is to get as much detail in the highlights and and as much detail recorded in the low light. So there's as much data physically being recorded that you can get, and then you can, if the data is there, you can then manipulate it and make it look how you want it. So if you wanted this area dark and you didn't want to see much detail in it, you just wanted it to be dark, you could pull it down and make it dark without losing any of the detail up here in these clouds, and vice versa. So that is the point of recording in flat. The point of recording in native color balance, or white balance, is it does a little bit more of this flattening effect, and it makes the saturation of the colors even less, which gives you more to play around with those as well before you start getting banding and noise. If you apply a white balance of, we're just going to ignore auto. You should never use auto. Just don't use auto. But if you use like 6500K for a cloudy day and 5500K for a sunny day, what the camera is basically doing is applying some kind of color correction over top of the image, and now you have to either fight that color correction to make it look different if you want to give a style to your video, or you have to embrace that, and there's you're pumping up a already saturated color, which can introduce banding and noise. So by having it on native, you have more to play around with. By having it on flat, you have more to play around with, but you are going to have to actually correct it. And that's what this video is all about, is for the guys that do want to color correct. This is to show them what the best settings to possibly use to get to that point. So again, you know, the shadows, here's after, here's before. There's actually increased detail in certain areas of this, even though I decreased some in other areas. And that is that. I'm going to go ahead and just play a video now of me flying this location. And it jumping back and forth between color graded and non-color graded. If you like this video, go ahead and slap that like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and hit subscribe, and make sure you hit the little bell there so you get the notifications as well. If you want to see more videos on editing, flight footage, and how to use adjustment layers to apply apply like effects like this to multiple clips, or how to actually adjust the individual sliders in Lumetri Color, or in whatever program you're using, just go ahead and leave a comment down below, and if there's enough people that want to see it, I'll definitely make a video on it. So enjoy the footage and have fun flying. Later.